All right, we've done a lot so far. We've talked about the values, we've talked about modeling factors, we've talked about reverse gradation, value ratios, three value study, all value study. So that's a lot with values. And basically values are nothing more than light and shade. And so we've got our light and we've got our shade, and that light and shade is on form. And let's talk about form very briefly. I think it's very important to understand what you're drawing. Now, I set this cast up deliberately this way to really show the form. Now, what winds up happening with a lot of people is they have a picture of, say, like a loved one or a boyfriend, girlfriend type thing, and they want to do a drawing of that picture because they like that picture. But the problem is the picture's taken with a flash from the camera. And so it flattens it all out. So this would be light, that would be light, that would be light, everything would be light. But I've set this photo up, and this is how you want to light objects. You want to light them with form light. And the reason why that this is form light is because the light and shadow shift is happening where the front plane meets the side plane. All right, so I know that was a mouthful, but form is everything, and you want to think about form when you're drawing, and you want to think about how you're going to light your object to show the most form. Now, of course, there are going to be times that you're going to use all different light sources. I understand that, but if you're trying to do this type of drawing with a traditional cast drawing, you want to light it with form light. So the light is 3/4 to the side and 3/4 from up above. So you're getting some underplane shadows. So basically, the first form that we see, and I'm just going to ruin this drawing a little bit, I'm not too concerned with it, is this cylinder shape. Okay, so that is form number one. Now there's the big form. I should have started with the big form first, but let's just kind of get this in. So that's our first form right there. I'm seeing a cylinder. Now, if I wanted to, I can just kind of shade that. What's a very cool form that I'm seeing? I am totally seeing a box. Okay, ignoring the breast, this is just totally a box. And if we're going to do it in perspective, it kind of looks like that. This is the underplane. Okay. Now I see another cylinder. This one's easy. Right about there. This is, to me, a cylinder. I've already kind of done this drawing. This little line I meant to say. The whole body right about here totally becomes more cylindrical. And you just want to pretend that you're drawing this cast and it's made out of glass. And you're seeing things a little bit more primitive that way. Now this, yes, this is totally a box. This is a side plane. And that's our front plane. Okay, so now on the front plane, this is also very round. So you morph all these shapes together. Okay, so basically, of course, the breasts are going to be a round object, which I destroyed with the box and the cylinder, but you're just not seeing the whole shape because let's just use the metaphor that half of the ball is inside of the body. Half of the breast, you're only seeing like half of a circle. So that's our sphere shape on top of the box. So the box is more important than the sphere because the box is bigger. And I know that this drawing's getting like a little bit ratty right now and I'm kind of really exaggerating. Here's another sphere on top of a box. So the box goes into a cylinder. There's spheres on top of the box. Sometimes the box is a little bit more round, okay? And then you have other things coming into play, like, let's do this. Let's just kind of bring it up to the next level. So basically, this would be a top plane, and that part of the abs, even though it's in the light, is going to be an underplane. And then this part of the abs is a top plane, and then this section right here turns under a little bit. So you have surface planes on the front plane, but the key here is to keep it light because it's in the light. You don't want to destroy this light part of the body by going too dark with those surface planes. Now, of course, you're not going to draw this way. You're going to think this way. And I just wanted to kind of draw on top of this drawing. This is how I'm thinking. And I'm looking at the underlying form, and I lit the sculpture deliberately that way. And I hope that you get that you want to be really deliberate. Now, what we have over here is a bunch of cylinders. How are we doing with time? Good. So I'm going to just do like a couple of them. So that's a cylinder. That's the shadow shape of the cylinder. And then basically we've got another cylinder over here. And from this cylinder down, with the exception of that light, which is a front plane, side plane, from there down, actually from here down, this is all shadow. So this is just like all these like little cylinders that are wrapping around, cylinders, 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 on top of the big form. So when you see, say, this separation from this cylinder to that cylinder, you don't want to put a real dark line over there or a dark tone because it's in the light. So look at that shadow compared to that shadow. That's going to be a lighter shadow because it's in the light, and that's a darker shadow because it's in the shadow. So all of this stuff can get very confusing. But as long as you say this very simple sentence to yourself, it'll all kind of be easy. I'm going to keep whatever is in the light, light, and I'm going to keep whatever is in the dark, dark, and I'm going to keep my middle tones, middle tone. So if you see a little like detail over here in the shadow, don't like make that thing like as light as your light. Just put it in its proper value ratio. I think that's going to be very, very important for you. And just say the sentence, I'm going to keep my lights light, I'm going to keep my darks dark. And then you see some detail over here, it's not going to be black. You see some detail over here, it's not going to be white. And so you're thinking about the form, and now you're rendering on top of the form.